Gavin, Lonergan. I'm in charge of communications and customer relations, marketing and so on with the Health and Safety Authority in Ireland. I'm not a NOSH expert, nowhere near it, but I've worked all my career in communications, marketing, PR, media relations, that kind of thing. And I work with my colleagues in the HSA to basically try and get them to forget about probably 99% of what they know and what they do and just focus in on the kind of key messages that ordinary workers, ordinary employers want to know about and will actually make a difference to their working lives and ultimately will help influence behaviour, reduce accidents, reduce deaths, which is what it's all about. I'm going to talk about a product called BeSmart, and I'm going to just talk about the communications of BeSmart rather than BeSmart itself. Some of you might know about BeSmart. It's an electronic online risk assessment tool. It's similar, I guess, to IRA. It's the Irish version of that. I'm not sure which came first, but ours was launched about 2.5 years ago. And it's aimed at small businesses. And it's in the context, I think a lot of countries are facing similar challenges in that BeSmart was developed in the context of trying to make health and safety legislation easy to understand and easy to comply with. Because compliance is an issue in Ireland. It's probably compliance is probably an issue in most countries. I think as communicators, that's the challenge we have to overcome. There's no entitlement just because we're not selling chocolate bars or holidays. Just because we're promoting something quite noble, that does not entitle us to have any particular extra attention in the minds and the lives of the broad public that we're trying to communicate with. So we have to think like marketers, like commercial marketers, as if we're selling something, as if we're trying to make a profit. That's the way I operate. That's the way I think. So BeSmart, about 2.5 years ago, it was launched. Our challenge is to have 17,500 registered users by the end of this year. We're at close enough to 16,000 as of today. For a small country like Ireland, 4 million population, with about 100 and, depending on which statistic you use, about 150, 160,000 small businesses, i.e. up to 50 employees. That's pretty good. So I won't get into BeSmart in general. I mean, what I'd say is have a look at it when you're back at your offices. Have a look at www.besmart.ie and go through it. Some of you I think do know about it already. But in terms of promoting BeSmart, I mean, BeSmart is a great product. Of course, I'm going to say that. And the work that the BeSmart team has done, it has been fantastic. But none of that will count for anything if people don't know about it, if employers don't know about it, if small business owners don't know about it. It doesn't matter how good it is. And there's countless examples in the marketing literature of fantastic products that completely failed because the communications was not done properly. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knows about it. It's going to have a very short lifespan. So these would have been the traditional methods of communication that we would have used in the past. Advertising, conferences, direct mail, public relations, web, all that kind of stuff. You all know about them. We've moved into kind of a new era of communication, and we have a range of tools available to us. But I mean, an important point I'd make at the start is that all of these activities are still valid. Digital marketing is not going to replace public relations. It's not going to replace, direct mail activities. It's not going to replace having conferences or advertising even. The key word here is integration. And if you're active in social media and digital marketing activities, the key thing is to integrate new media, new communications activities with the more traditional stuff. So, we rethought our communications. We're on the same types of platforms that everybody else is. In particular, these 4. I mean, there are dozens and dozens, hundreds of various social media platforms and forums out there that are available. I mean, these are the big ones, but there's a very long list. And there's huge advantages with all of these, primarily around cost, speed, flexibility, and traceability or trackability. I mean, an old cliche in marketing circles and in terms of marketing budgets is half my budget is wasted if only I knew which half. And that's actually pretty true, you know. What I find with social media and with digital channels is that it really helps identify where you're wasting money, and then you can stop. But you know, when you're spending money in communications and in marketing, some of it is always going to be wasted. The key is to identify that really, really quickly and stop doing it and do it differently. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we've done on Facebook before moving on to LinkedIn and some other mobile activity. These are Facebook display ads, typical Facebook display ads. Anybody who uses Facebook will know about these, will see them. We have an audience on Facebook of about 5,000 likes, followers on Facebook. We want to target a hell of a lot more than 5,000. So the only way to do that is to spend money and to advertise on a forum like Facebook. So these are very simple, very easy to put together. In terms of the tracking aspect of this, which is what really impresses me about social media activity, you can see here that a very simple, quick campaign that cost a relatively small amount of money generated about 5,000 clicks onto our website. And that equates to 35 cents per visit to the website. Now, you cannot track traditional advertising like that. If you have newspaper ads, if you have radio ads, they're still valid, but you can't get down to this type of metric with that type of communication. So what we try and do as much as possible is integrate social media, digital communications with the traditional stuff that we're still doing. And I'll show you an example of that in a second. That's Facebook advertising. There's also Facebook promoted posts, although I think in the last few weeks they've changed it to suggested posts. There's new terminology in Facebook. You'll find with Facebook that it changes literally every day. New services come out from Facebook every single day, and they move the goalposts all the time. But these are the promoted posts, so these aren't ads. These are information kind of boxes that sit in the middle of your news feed. Again, promoting Be Smart there. That's just two examples. So you'll see the slightly different terminology. You won't be able to read that text, but the top one says, do you want to save money and time in your workplace? Sign up free to Be Smart. The bottom one says now over 14,000 businesses have signed up to Be Smart. Save your business, so save your business time and money. There's a little bit of the copy on it, the text on it has been amended. The top one generated 878 clicks onto besmart.ie. So 26 cents. I mean, you're talking about really good value for money here. The bottom one generated 684, and from the number of impressions and so on, and the cost you can work out very easily that came in at 29 cents a click. Does that mean the top one was better than the bottom one? No, of course it doesn't. I mean, you're going to have a different cost per click on every campaign. What a lot of organizations will do is set a maximum they're willing to pay per click. Might be 50 cents, it might be €1, and once it goes above that, the campaign stops. But the trackability of this is really, really, really impressive. Just to kind of talk quickly about LinkedIn. I mean, Facebook's very much around consumers and personal use. LinkedIn is much more around business use and professional use. I mean, some people call it a kind of a Facebook for the professional classes. The LinkedIn have a service called InMails. I mean, they're basically emails that get sent to your email address, you know, that LinkedIn has when you set up your account and register. This is a pretty graphic picture of a scar. This was the visual we used in this whole communications campaign around Be Smart. And the scar, you won't be able to read the small print there, but the scar represents a profit and loss chart, and profit is on the left axis, and time is on the horizontal axis. So the idea is, when you have an accident or somebody has an accident in your workplace, profits drop. This generated 319 hits, went to a much smaller audience, 2,000 SME owners and managers. So we knew we were hitting the bullseye. We knew these weren't 10-year-old girls who happened to click on the ad by accident when they meant to click on, you know, a makeup ad or something. The flip side of this is that it's much more expensive. You'll notice that it was over €9 per click into the website from the LinkedIn campaign. LinkedIn advertising is much more expensive than Facebook advertising anyway, but some people might say, well, why would you continue with LinkedIn? It's costing over €9 a click. You know, your Facebook stuff is costing 25 or 30 cents a click. The simple answer is we know the people who are clicking here are exactly the people that we want to talk to. We don't know that necessarily about Facebook, so there's a lot of wastage with the Facebook activity. So in terms of traditional, just to wrap up, traditional versus digital, it's not really a case of one over the other. I mean, I would highly recommend that you do both and you integrate them and you just make sure they work together and support each other. I mean, this is a newspaper ad, a press campaign we would have run in Ireland. You'll notice that it uses the exact same visual as the LinkedIn email. It's in a newspaper. You know, LinkedIn is an email, it's electronic. On one hand, you have to say there's no real difference. Here's an example of some mobile advertising we're doing at the moment. So we would work with O2, Telefonica. When business customers register and set up their accounts in the first instance with their mobile phone company, they have to give a lot of information to sign up. They then, O2, all the other mobile phone companies will do likewise, use this information and sell it to people who advertise. So O2 will make their money on the plans, on the mobile phone charges, on data, but they also make money on advertising. They're monetizing the data that they have. They're monetizing the information they get. So this is the Be Smart campaign as aimed at mobile phone customers. And again, it's quite expensive. That campaign would have cost about €10,000 just on the mobile phones. But it went to exactly the people we need to talk to. It went to exactly the small business owners, small business managers around the country. So, in conclusion, I mean, the key point I'd make is that people get quite excited about digital and it's a whole brave new world and so on. But on one level, it's the same. And from a communications perspective and from a marketing perspective, the very same concepts and theories that would have applied to marketing campaigns 20, 30 years ago, using traditional methods, using the old school methods. Those same principles apply exactly to digital marketing. There's no point in pushing your message out at people who it's not relevant for. There's no point in just kind of a blanket kind of Facebook campaign. I mean, the targeting, creating awareness, creating interest, creating an action as a result of all of that is as important in the whole social media space and digital space as it is in the more mainstream traditional stuff. The fact that we are selling a noble message and a noble concept, in the minds of consumers, in the minds of the people out there, it makes no difference. So what? We're competing with McDonald's, we're competing with Renault, we're competing with everything else that a typical consumer sees every single day. In today's world, consumers are bombarded with thousands, literally thousands of marketing messages every single day. The campaign from the Health and Safety Authority is just one of those. So the campaign has to be developed in a way that cuts through all the noise, that speaks to the target market in their language, and ultimately gives them a reason, to actually take an action and do something, whether it's you're trying to influence their behaviour or trying to get them to visit a website. So I hope that was useful. Thank you.
Thank you.